So my name is Whitney Atterbury. I've been with MMGY Global for about 3 years now. I actually started as an intern, and I've always been with email. I love it dearly, and I love my job. So if you guys ever need to reach out with me, any questions, feel free. I wanted to use this. My email is right there, so just email me, take a note. Happy to answer any questions. Okay, so first I just want to talk about the opportunities that the VCB offers for inclusion of co-op ads. So we'll just wait these stragglers here. Okay, so the emails that the VCB offers that include co-op partners, we have a couple other emails that don't include partners. But specifically the first one I want to talk about is the welcome emails. So the welcome emails are those that are sent to our leisure subscribers. So these are people who are signing up directly on the website. They're ordering visitor guides, they're signing up for email. Anybody who is essentially a leisure lead, they're going to get a welcome email. It welcomes them, tells them thank you for their interest. These emails actually run quarterly, so they run for about a span of 3 months. So anytime during that, you can update and change content in your ad that is included in that welcome email if you're so interested. Same goes for the bridal welcome emails. These are ran quarterly. These are going to obviously people who are getting married or maybe just interested in weddings. So the big emails that we send that require the most intensive work and content and everything is our monthly e-newsletters. So these are sent to predominantly, we have in-state and out-of-state. In-state leads, we have fewer. It's a smaller subset. It's a targeted list. And then our out-of-state leads are those not in Florida. So depending on the time of the year and when you guys would be wanting to include your partner ads in these emails, it might be best for you to target in-state versus out-of-state. And then also Clara talked about earlier our third-party emails. These are emails that are going to outside databases. So New York Times has their own database. Sherman's Travel has their own database. And so we design, lay out the email, purchase the send, and then your guys' ads are featured in the email as well. So they get different exposure outside of our internal database. As we go along, feel free to ask questions too. Okay, so first I just wanted to give you an insight into the actual database that we're sending to. So these subscribers that are included in our list, we've got what we kind of call our direct leads. So these are people who are signing up directly on the website, and these are our highest performing leads. These are subscribers who have raised their hand, they said they're interested, they're our most engaged audience. So what we try and do is we speak to these subscribers just a little bit differently. We talk to them like they're our friend. They've obviously want to be our friend. They said they wanted to, so we're going to treat them as such. Our reader service leads are those that are generated via offline. So it's another way for us to build our database. They're generated via magazine subscriptions. They're actually the cards and the magazines that you can see. They perform a little bit lower only because maybe they've expressed an interest, but they haven't directly ordered a guide or anything per se. And then our lead generation leads are collected online as well. However, they're generated via outside sources, so not our website. We have a very active database. Within the past 12 months, at least 64% has opened an email. So we do a lot of testing and ways to try and increase this, but we have very engaged leads. One of the things that we like to do is kind of a KPI or something that we monitor with each email send is we track how our email traffic is generating referrals to your guys' sites. So predominantly in our co-op emails, we have a lot of accommodation ads. So the majority of our referrals are going to accommodations sites. But if you have other items that you're wanting to promote, say it's an event or a deal, those things can be also included as a co-op ad. Okay, so I'm just going to talk about 2 of our main emails, how they perform, and then we'll go into some other stuff for you guys to do with your own email campaign. So with our, as you can see here, how we kind of lay out our monthly e-newsletters, we've kind of worked on optimizing how we format the partners. We've definitely tried a single column For desktop, though, we found that the side-by-side view with the partners, we get more click-through on that, more click activity. So here it's just showing our performance. We monitor it monthly to see how everything's going, year over year, month over month. Definitely within the last year, we've really focused on targeting our e-newsletters, and we've seen an increase in engagement as well. Our monthly emails, as I said, they run for, or our welcome emails, they run for 3 months. They're quarterly. Partners can vary. I think this month we had, or this past year we had up to 9. I think we're going to decrease that a little. We just want to make sure that we don't have too many partners in the emails. We want to make sure they're focused. One thing I do want to mention that some people are always like, why am I not on the top, you know? And we go in order of when they sign up. But I will say that we do see click-through activity throughout all the partner ads. So it's not necessarily your placement, it's really your ad itself too. So here I just wanted to show you 4 examples of partner ads and where they're clicking. So this is kind of just like a little heat map. Come on up. My hair is gonna get in the way of this thing. And I'm gonna block you guys. Oh, this is weird. I gotta be on the right side. Okay. Sorry. Just gonna bear with me. Okay. So what I wanted to show you guys was where people are clicking. So we're seeing a lot of people obviously click on the call to action. I'll talk about here in a little bit how you guys can optimize that and change that to increase response there. But one of the main takeaways I just want you guys to know is that we are sending to the same database. Our database is growing, but we do have subscribers who have been on there for however many years. So you want to make sure that all that content that you're providing to us is updated regularly. I mean, I know I'm not going to respond to the same ad every time. So it's really important to change that information. Okay, so what I just said, definitely you want to update it per send, per opportunity that you're doing. And also you want to think about the timing of the year and things that you want. So if you guys have specific offers that you guys have going on, look at your calendar, look at throughout the year. I mean, if you have something specific that you want response on, definitely include that content and provide that to us.
We have a question.
Oh, yeah.
How often should we be updating or changing the ads?
Well, for the monthly e-newsletters, I think you should change them per time. So I know that can get difficult depending on your assets, depending on what images you have or what you have going on. I definitely think if there's one thing that you could change, it's not like, it doesn't have to be different the whole, it's just back to back is the main thing that I would definitely focus on. And the image is really important, I think, to change. I mean, that's, you know, if you have an offer, include the offer, a price point, like Claire had said earlier, it's really important to include that. But specifically the image for sure. And just keeping the copy really concise, because it's not necessarily what you're saying. If you have a price point or any type of what I call like inspiring words in there, keeping it very brief is a really good tactic. I think sometimes people are like, you know, I bought this ad and I want to say everything, but I think it's really important to just keep the message really strong. Okay. So I don't know how many of you guys have your own email programs running now, but I just want to touch on a few things and kind of the phase of how we go through and optimize email campaigns that we're working on. So one of the first things that we always look at is the data that you have. So I think sometimes people get their email lists and they get their email addresses and they're like, okay, I've got this list. Well, it's really about thinking, do I have all the data that I can have? So do I have stay information? Do I have spend information, when they stayed, where they're from? All this information gives you opportunities to send specialized or targeted campaigns to these individuals. So if you know how much they're spending, you know, you could promote another offer or another time of year. Or if you know when their birthday is, you could give them, you know, another coupon or promote a specific event or anything, surrounding that information. I think stay dates is a really, really good one. We do campaigns where we will send emails, depending on how you want this to be managed, but you can do it 10 days out, 20 days out. Are you excited for your trip? Things like that really start to pique the interest and show that you're paying attention and that you care about them as a customer or a guest. Another thing that we like to do too is, I've said, we track all of our lead sources. I think that's really important to track it and understand where your data is coming from. You don't want to have bad data. It's just not a good practice. So one of the first things we do when once you understand the data you have, you're saying, okay, how do I want to contact these people? So this is just developing a contact strategy. So the first thing I do is look at the leads, and then I go, okay, how am I getting this data? So are you syncing with your website? Are you syncing it up from a CRM? Are you manually importing? Just figure out the workload there so you can know what you have to overcome with some of these campaigns, essentially. Another thing that we do, you have the monthly manual emails that we're directly sending these. But another thing I wanted to point out to you guys was triggered, automated, or one-off promotional emails. What's great about triggered or automated emails, the way I kind of describe it, triggered is like when the action happens, you fill out the form, you get the email. So that's happening based on a specific action. But the automated emails are ones going off of that data that you already have, and you can set up programs to run to deliver, 5 days before my birthday or something. So that's kind of how I like to classify those. And those are really great to set up because you can set them up and then be done, and they're just running. So every once in a while you're like, oh yeah, we need to update the copyright because it's been a year now. So those are really great, and we see definitely high engagement with those emails that are running. One thing I want to talk about is early engagement. So if there's anything that you're doing, no matter what, if there's just one thing that you need to do, you just need to do a welcome email. It's pretty much standard. Any platform that you have will have some type of functionality set in there. It's basing off of their opt-in date. Whether or not it goes right when they sign up or whether or not it goes, the next day, I don't have a strong opinion on, but it definitely needs to go within the time frame of when they first signed up. What this kind of does is, we call it the honeymoon phase. It's setting the standard of the relationship that you're going to have with this individual. So it's really important to, nurture that relationship. You don't want to just say, hey, thanks, and then a year later you send them an email and you're like, hey, how's it going? And they're just like, I have no idea who you are. I don't even remember signing up for you. I'm going to call you spam and I don't like you, so just go away. It's just not a nice way. I mean, I definitely don't holler at people, don't talk to people for that long and then just expect them to talk to me again. That's just not very nice. Another thing that we call we call them onboarding series or welcome email series, whatever you want to call it. It's basically getting in touch with your subscribers, your guests, your individuals that you want to communicate with at an early point. So we typically see the earlier you contact or get in contact with them and engage with them, the longer they're going to stay engaged with you. And I mean, if you think about it, it makes sense. So I think it's really good for properties, destinations, any type of way. Specifically for Fort Myers, we identified that we wanted to touch on nature and beaches. It's the two high selling factors of the destination, so we like to promote that. Here we just are basically, it's more inspirational. It's not shoving an ad. We don't include co-op ads in these. It's just a very subtle way. You don't have to be, the content can be very general in how you engage with these people. It's really just what you want to share with them, less of a sell per se. Okay, another big part of my job is just simply planning the content. It can be very challenging to manage emails. I know that, I've come up on a deadline and been like, what am I oh my God, what's the email gonna be about? What do I put in there? So I actually have this handy dandy spreadsheet that I would share with anyone if you want it. Just let me know, I'll send it to you. Basically, I map out the year in general, and then like get more focused in about 3 to 6 months out. So what I like to do is just kind of do a hierarchy of the content that I do want to feature, and then I just hone in, okay, I know I've got food week or restaurant week coming up. Okay, so we can't talk about the same month that it's happening. You have to promote it ahead of time. And so planning your content, I think, is crucial. And I think it's also really crucial because I work with the social teams, and if they have a social campaign going on, they come and tell me, the month of, I'm like, okay, well, that's just not going to work for me, we have deadlines, and so it's really important for you guys to be planning that content. This is another thing, going back to the time of subscribers on your guys' list, I'll just call them that, or database. You do see the longer people are on your list, less engagement. So what we like to do, I know the size of your list is really important, but what I like to tell people is it really doesn't matter how big your list is. It's really the quality of the people on your list. So just looking at your database and saying, okay, I've got this many, and you just keep blasting the same people, it's just like it's really not a good practice. I think it's really good. There's tools within email platforms that will allow you to pull subscribers who are not opening your emails. And if it could be a dead box, inbox, and that's wasting resources. It's just a waste, in my opinion. So it's really good to take a look at who's opening and then deciding, okay, do I want to remove them? That's really up to you. I think a best practice, I kind of look at 6 months, and then I'll go back and look at 12 months and see what's going on. I usually start off softly, and then I'll just start getting rid of the extra fat. Just get them out of there. One thing too, though, that you can do, and I'm sure you guys have seen these emails before, where they send you an email and it's like, oh, we miss you. What's going on? And that's up to you guys. We do it for some clients. It depends on, the size of your list and how many people are not opening, but you'll immediately see, once you start removing these people, your performance, your numbers are going to go up because you're getting rid of the extra. So I think that's a really good practice that you guys should be looking at. Okay, so we all know mobile is a huge deal. We don't even need to really talk about it, other than how you guys are going to take that into consideration for your own emails. It's definitely growing each year. This is eMarketer, some numbers that I pulled. I don't know how many of you guys, Lee County's emails are responsive. We have resources available that can obviously code these emails and make them responsive. Whether or not you guys have this, I don't know, but I do know that there are steps that you can take to address it with specifically your layout without necessarily coding for it immediately if you don't have this available to you. So the first thing would be to enlarge the fonts. So that's just like rule number 1. So I think sometimes it's like around 12 font size. Just bump it up. Just go up a few sizes, make it bigger. That's a really simple, easy way for your emails to increase, make it easier for people to view it on a mobile platform. The call to action, just think about scrolling on your phone, like load times and things like that. Just be proactive in figuring out what do you want them to do with the email. So, talking about multiple different things, that's totally fine. But that's kind of why I look at content as a hierarchy. You're going to want to place what you want them to do as the first thing that they're seeing, whether it be an image or any type of call to action. Just make sure it's like bumped up. So keep the copy short, keep it concise, to the point, and drive them to wherever you want them to go. Okay, so another thing that I don't see a lot of people doing, something that we do with every send, is testing. So what we like to do is just look and see what is working, and then if it doesn't work, next month you can change it. I think that's like what I love about email. It's not like some huge project you work on and it's out the door, and then it's like, you can just change this instantly with each email, so it's really great. One thing that we do, why we test, is so you can understand what's working and what's not. So if something's not working, just stop doing it and fix it and move on, and then and you'll see your engagement increase. Okay, so one of the things I want to talk about is ways that you can test. So subject line is just like easy peasy, do it. So you have literally one email, or 2 emails per se, has one subject line and then a different subject line. Split your database in half, see what happens. Another thing that you can do is only test a small portion of your database, see which one wins out, and then deliver to the remainder of your database. And that's one that we typically do. But if you don't have a lot of time to be, messing around, whatever, just do the splits. The A/B test is what we call it. The call to action copy is another one that we test a lot as well. One thing I like to tell people is I constantly see book now in emails, and it kind of annoys me because it's suggesting that at that point in time, they're ready to book. How often are you looking at something and you're like, yes, I'm going to book it right now? I mean, it's just very rare that I feel like it's presumptuous to say to the consumer, okay, yeah, book now. Just click there, and that's what's going to happen. I mean, I know that I might be thinking a little too much into it because obviously I'm looking at emails all the time. However, I just think it's when we've tested call to actions, we've noticed that a little bit of a softer sell has increased engagement, because it's almost like, you do online shopping now and you click through something and you're like, okay, now I officially am buying it. It's almost like scary to click it is how I kind of think of it too. They're like, oh, is that gonna they know it's not, but you know what I mean. One other thing that I wanted to talk about is image density, is how many images you're including in your emails. That's completely up to you, but I just think when you're looking at it on a mobile device, it's really important to consider load time. Always do testing, see how it works. Do one different image per email. So try doing an image of inside the property versus the outside of the property. I think Claire had shown an interior shot, and then there was another one with an exterior shot. So you could always test that. I mean, maybe interiors work, but you don't really know until you test. So I think it's something you guys should definitely consider. Okay, quick, am I good on time? We have lots of time for questions. Anybody?
What do you think of that day of the week and the time to send?
We do. That's another one that we do a lot too. It's really weird. Across different clients, we'll see morning works specifically, and then other clients evening works. So I kind of like to mess around and see, okay, are they going to be eating dinner at this time? So I think it's really important, because we've seen, I like to say sometimes testing will reveal about 3 to 4% range in open rates, or it can be as much as 10%. So just figuring out when to send is really essential. I mean, are they looking at their email in the morning or night? You don't know. And you need to test for a long period of time. You can't just send it, test it, and not just make a note, write it down, and then moving forward, every month, okay, all these months, this is, what worked best. Any other questions? Do you guys have your own platforms that you're working on now? I'd love to hear. We work with Exact Target. Do you guys, anybody? MailChimp, your Exact Target? Yeah. Do you like it?
Yeah, but sometimes you don't get a lot of response, and I try to figure out what to do differently.
Oh, okay.
I'm Marina, a boat story,
Okay.
and so all of our boat story questions through email all the time, and letting know what's happening, and just giving different ideas of what's going on
Uh-huh.
with Marina and stuff. And I'm sorry.
Yeah, get the mic.
I work for Fishtail Marina, and we are constantly sending emails to our
Right.
targeted contacts. So,
Yeah.
but sometimes you don't get a good ratio of
Yeah.
opens, and you just made me realize I have to just ditch all the ones that don't ever get their email.
Yeah, just get rid of them. Yeah. say
Yeah,
bye.
yeah. So.
I mean, it's hard because I know the list size is important to you. It's oh, I don't want to get rid of them, but I mean, yeah.
Well, and sometimes that that's their email, but they're not getting it.
Yeah.
So that's a problem too.
Yeah, for sure. Any other? You do, or have I? Oh, you do.
Yeah, what if, constant contact?
I've heard really good things about MailChimp. I haven't used it, but they have a ton of resources available. Now, I'm not saying that you should switch or anything, but I haven't used Constant Contact. One of the things about MailChimp that I think is really good too is I think they have a lot of templates available for you to use. It's a little hinky. Yeah.
And I think my challenge right now is that we've been going with the same format for our monthly newsletter for the last 4 years. And it's like, okay, we try to say everything on that page instead of having a bunch of links because,
Yeah.
but now it just seems like it's too wordy.
Yeah.
And so now the whole start from scratch again, I don't know whether it's time to look at another format or if there's
Yeah.
some place that you have everything I mean, pretty much any articles that you put, are they clickable to somewhere, or do you ever have, like, the whole article is posted in the actual e-blast?
Everything should be clickable for
Okay.
sure. Yeah.
Okay.
So, but there are times when we've had to do like an emergency email, and it was like highway, whatever. I mean, there's certain instances where it's like you can break the rules. I feel like, you know, but if you're wanting to see engagement and, you know, yeah, definitely everything should be linkable. Yep. You next. You get the mic next.
It's pretty short and simple.
Okay.
Do you have like a top list of 3 of your favorite call to actions instead of buy now?
Oh, okay. Well, learn more is pretty standard, but I do use that one when I can't get creative a little bit. No,
Fair enough.
I'm kidding. Learn more is just a nice soft sell. I like learn more. Read more is my second. View. Oh. Other than book now, other options? Okay, let me think. Yeah. Yeah. View deal, like it depends on what the page is going to too, but you could do view deal. Another thing that I do too, the great thing about email is you can sign, I know some people don't like doing this, but I just sign up for a ton of emails. And then that way I can see things as well as other examples. You'll learn a lot of what not to do, and then also things you're like, oh, I like that. So, yeah. No, and actually, I don't know if I have top 3. I know for Lee County, though, I specifically update the first call to action. You want it to pertain to the content. You don't want it to don't do like the shot. Like, that's the most annoying thing if you click on something and it's like not what you thought it was going to be. So whatever you do, make sure it makes sense. That's my rule of thumb, I would think. So, any other questions? Call me. Yeah.
Have you seen, as it relates to like personalizing the emails? Oh, sorry.
Here we go.
Here we go. Yes, we are up.
As it relates to like personalizing emails, have you guys seen an increase in open
Yes.
rates and engagement?
It
Like
pretty
huge?
much, yeah. It'll just increase it. But whether or not you want to do it continually, that's up to you. And I just say again, you just need to test. But personalization can be a little freaky. It can.
That's what I was wondering. Like maybe people know
Yeah.
it's automated. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, they know that you're not
But-
handwriting their subject
Yeah.
line like,
Right.
dear, they get it. But it will increase. It will
Yeah.
definitely.
Okay.
I mean, and if you have like board members or you're sending like a type of communication, I think it works really well. I think it's a nice touch for sure. Yeah. Anybody else?
Okay, thank you.
All right. Well, it's good. Thanks.